Hello, welcome back to the Pedestal Wife Society. So I'm going to wait for everyone to get into the room. I'm just going to make sure I run some checks to make sure the audio and video is working properly. So if you get into the room, if you can see and hear me, I appreciate that. I just want to make sure everything is operating beautifully because I really want to talk about the frequency of being spoiled and why being high maintenance isn't a bad thing. What if being spoiled is a frequency? What if high maintenance is an energetic standard that shifts how money, men, and opportunities respond to you? What if creation was designed with provision in mind? What if? So we're not going to continue with the what if dialogue. We're going to bring it all the way home and have a real conversation today. Hey, Miss Feels Good. Hey, Liddy in the city. Greetings. Hello, ladies. I'm just going to assume that if you're responding to me, you can see and hear me, and everything is operating perfectly on your end. And we're going to go ahead and jump into the conversation. See, the thing is, society conditions women to adhere or to feel blame or shame when they are referred to as spoiled or high maintenance. But when you truly look at what the meaning of that word is, and meanings of words are very important to me. You know, I always say you have to know the meaning of the word. You have to have the understanding. And not having the understanding uh, conditions women to stay in the space where they believe that it is being a good person to not be spoiled, being a good person to not be high maintenance. But when you start to shift your perspective and you realize that we're operating in a plane where provision is already available, we just haven't figured out how to go about tapping into that provision without chasing or pursuing it. And so that's why I'm going to bring you back to the center, to the real conversation, to being able to look at these words and see the compliment in them versus looking at them and feeling some type of shame or guilt because someone is referring to you as such. Okay, so let me just make sure I'm running one more check because like I said, I'm assuming that everybody can see and hear me and we're just fine. So let's just get honest. This world throws out terms or calls us high maintenance in order to insult us. They call us that as though it is a slur, not recognizing they've been conditioned to believe that that word is negative or that that word is a slur or that that word is something that a woman should not be. And it's really not their fault. The world has been conditioned for chasing, pursuing, and to giving without any understanding for self. The world has been set up with that because we have gotten out of the creation and understanding what that means. And I'm going to go deeper into that because really your provision is already there. Your provision is already integrated with creation. We just don't realize it. We don't know. I'm not going to say we don't know. I'm going to say we haven't tuned in to that frequency. And when you haven't tuned to that frequency, you kind of get caught up in what you're told. You're trained in what relationships have given you, what your mother has taught you, what your culture has taught you. And you have to go through this process of deconstructing and removing the things that are not going to be helpful on your journey. But here's the truth. When someone says you're high maintenance, what they're truly is saying, she requires more than I'm willing to give. And I notice, and because I've been kind of scrolling a little bit more on social media than normal, and I know I need to get busy and I need to really be packing more of my ritual boxes to complete more of my orders. But I've been scrolling social media and I realized that there has really been a shift to glorifying low maintenance and struggle. And this is a disrespect to the creator. This is a disrespect to the creation. This is a disrespect to the understanding that creation has provisions. And so I, for my community and the women that allow me to mentor them and support them and guide them in their journey. I want you to look at this differently. I want you to see this differently. That's why I'm addressing it in a particular way. I'm addressing it in a way that being spoiled and high maintenance is literally our natural state. What happened is humans came about and they created this entire social structure to keep you from your natural state, for keep you from being spoiled, for being high maintenance. And not that little, and I'm not even referring to what the definition that society has given you, because even the definition that society has given you when it comes to being spoiled, because being spoiled is literally a frequency. High maintenance is literally energetic standards to where men, money, opportunities have to respond to you. We think it's about things, and that's a way to invalidate what it truly means when we think about things. And there's nothing wrong with things. I am a lover of things. I'm a lover of having more. I'm a lover of luxury. I'm a lover of being spoiled. But I look at things from a spiritual perspective. And we're going to address that. I'm going to give you what my grandmother taught me. And it kind of, when I tell you, she taught it to me in a way that you cannot hurt my feelings by calling me spoiled. You cannot hurt my feelings by calling me high maintenance. You cannot hurt my feelings by, using any of the slurs that society has given you to make women feel shame or guilt for desiring more, for wanting more, for requiring more, because it literally is our birthright, the natural state that women are supposed to be in, the natural state of woman. And so I remember being a younger woman and being confused by all of this conversation around relationships and how women should carry themselves and how women should act and how women should give more than they take. I was a young woman and being confused, very confused about these sentiments and these dynamics that was around me. And I've experienced this myself. I've experienced going out, getting in relationships, and having low maintenance and low standards for myself, and thinking because I have low maintenance I have low standards that I should receive more, that I should be given more. And unfortunately, that is not the way creation has been made. Creation rises up to your expectation. It rises up to your energetic standards. It rises up to your high maintenance. When you decide and go into relationships and you're going in as a low maintenance girly with low standards, what happens, everything meets you where you are. So you don't get any more, actually you get less. Because I met men, since I was operating from that frequency of scarcity, I met men that I asked for nothing and they gave me less than nothing. They gave me less than nothing because they saw that I was willing to accept the bare minimum. So they gave me less than even the bare minimum, because that is the way this world operates. That there is a side of the world, that's the physical world that you can touch, the material world that you can touch, but we don't interject or have conversation about the spiritual side of it. And that's the reason why when you go in and you have low expectations and you decide you're going to show up as a low maintenance girly, you decide you're going to ask for the bare minimum, you tend to get less than the bare minimum, or they meet you right at the standard that you currently have. They don't try to go above and beyond. That is a lie. That is conditioning. That is so that you accept less than what you are deserving of. That is because you don't understand your natural state. You don't understand that you're God's creation. Why would God give you less than animals? So I'm going to stop there because I'm passionate. I'm passionate about this because this is so, like, the scrolling social media will make you realize that women are out here accepting less than they deserve. They're out here being bullied, not only being bullied, being conditioned, being trained to accept less than so that they don't have to appear to be high maintenance or spoiled, to appear to be a good girl. And we already know, I've already got a whole bunch of slack, a whole bunch of backlash anytime I mention good girl, because women are that triggers that conditioning. And they get very angry at me when I say, who cares about you being a good girl? You being a good girl hasn't got you so far. All right, so let me pause, catch my breath, make sure everything is still flowing properly. You can hear and see me. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Yes, it's because men complain about high maintenance women, so pick me's rebuked it. See, the thing is, because I don't want to jump ahead of the conversation, but I'm going to say something that men don't matter in this conversation because provision is always integrated in God's creation. Provision is already available to you, regardless if a man is there or not. Men don't matter. I don't care what men have to say. And yes, you are correct. There are men who complain about these things, and women center men, so they center their opinions. But in this conversation, we're only talking about our natural birthright and what God has created for us, and that provision is already included. Provision came with the package. We just have to fine tune and tap in. Yes, it's sad. It is. As a young girl, it's very easy to want to belong so bad that you ignore your intuition, lower your standards, ignore your boundaries because you're afraid of council culture. Absolutely. It's actually right now, it's something that's happening. People are experiencing that. But when you understand that there is no such thing, you cannot cancel what God created. You cannot cancel what God created. But like I said, I don't want to jump ahead of the conversation. How do you navigate the fear of rejection for asking what you desire and need if you aren't sure the man will respond how you desire? I stopped worrying about what the man is going to respond to. I don't center men in any of the conversations because the only man that I acknowledge is God. I acknowledge the creator, and the creator has integrated provision in my natural state. God would not create me to be or act or live less than animals. The animals that you see running about this vast, beautiful earth that's been created, they're taken care of, they're provided for. They're not out here struggling and stressed about being provided or getting provision. And God would not treat me less than an animal. So men are not needed and their response are not required. I definitely paid the price daily for being in my morals and standards in a recent engagement I call off. The more you come to yourself, the more you learn to stop polling for people's opinion and start listening to that small, still voice. The more you train yourself to listen to it, the easier it gets. It will only drain us as women. But when it comes down to it, frequency is spoiled. We've been taught that being spoiled means entitled, bratty, or selfish. But spoiled is a true essence of frequency. A spoiled woman doesn't chase, she doesn't pursue, she doesn't over explain, she doesn't try to force anything. She sets the tone. Money, love, and opportunities, they respond to her. I want you to think of how the world truly works. The world truly works not in the way that we perceive it or the way that we believe it does. The world works through expectations. If you expect that you're always going to have to work hard for love, for money, for opportunities, then you will always be chasing that thing or experience struggle. But if your expectation is that you're going to have good things, that becomes your baseline and reality bends to it. Spoiled is simply faith in motion. It is overflow made tangible. And here comes the ritual, because the ritual is how you anchor in this frequency into your body every single day. When you light a candle, when you pray, when you do a bathing ritual, when you soak in the tub and with intention, when you use oil and rub into your skin, you're programming your nervous system to believe I am worth this, I am worth more. Women do fear that label of being high maintenance or spoiled. They fear that because of guilt, because they fear rejection. They fear that they're going to be abandoned. And we have some history with this because at one point in our lives, what happens if we were rejected or we were abandoned, it was hard to survive. We literally needed community just to survive. And so that fear is still deep within us. And so we tend to lean into that fear and align to ideals that we know are not going to be beneficial to you as a woman. So you see women who get scared of being called spoiled. So they will lower their standards, they'll lower their expectation, they'll lean into him and align to his program and get into his rhythm. And when that happens, she loses herself piece by piece, day by day. And I see this happen all over social media. All over social media, I am seeing women operate from a space of fear, guilt, or rejection. So I'm gonna take a break and see what we're saying. Okay, you're speaking to someone. I believe that life doesn't give you what you want, it gives you what you think and deserve. Believe you deserve. Absolutely. It does. When I was operating from that space that I didn't believe that I was worthy, that I wasn't pretty enough, I wasn't good enough, I wasn't smart enough. Trust me, people showed up in my life to affirm that. Every man that I dated, when I thought like that, they came into my life just to say, yes, you're not pretty enough. Yes, you're not good enough. Yes, you're not pretty enough. Yes, you're not small enough. Because that's what happens in the current world that we live in. When we have that type of expectation, reality bends to that and bends to make the changes that's required. And if I didn't have someone coming in to confirm what I already believed about myself, I had someone coming in to take advantage of what I believed in myself. So if I didn't believe I was pretty enough, I had a guy come in and he would try to take advantage of that in order to receive something from me. You mentioned ritual. How is this connected to high maintenance? High maintenance does not mean just buying things. High maintenance is more about the energetic standards that the world responds to. And this is how money, men, and opportunities respond to you. When you're doing a ritual, whatever that ritual or frequency you're trying to anchor in, rituals soften the body so that you can anchor in the frequency. And then you're able to vibrate higher and bring in the things that you want. That's why I say ritual. I'm going to give some ways to embody being spoiled and into that, stepping into that frequency. How to feel worthy and build that confidence. I think I'm going to answer your question further on in the video. So I'm not going to answer it here right now because I'm going to go through ways to embody the frequency of being spoiled. Okay. And so I'm going to leave that and I'll come back to it. If I do not answer it before we end the live stream, bring me back to it because I don't mean to not answer it. I just don't want to go jump ahead of the conversation. I already jumped 3,000 steps ahead of the conversation with my opening. Okay. So you're responding to somebody. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to talk about the spiritual aspect of this. Being spoiled, okay? When you stop operating from the definition of the world, when you start operating from the human and you start operating from the spirit, being spoiled mirrors how the divine provides. Look at nature. And I want to bring this back to what my grandmother taught me when she had me look at nature, because I was going through a rough time. I was going through the time when my boyfriend he embarrassed me basically. And I had told her about it and I was feeling down and depressed about myself and feeling down about my life overall because I was a young woman. And she was like, you are getting so caught up in what he thinks about you or what they think about you, an opinion that they have about you, that you're not looking at the beauty that's in front of you. You're not looking at vast God's creation. You're not looking at how vast the ocean is, how infinite the stars are. You're not looking at how the animals toil not. You're not looking at how everything is already provided for you. The reason why you're getting such pushback is because you're getting you're getting out of alignment. The thing is, you're worried about him. You're worried about his opinions. You're worried about what they think about you. Your only thing in life that you're supposed to be concerned about is getting an alignment so that you can get the provisions that's already integrated in God's creation. And when she did that, and we had this conversation, it kind of cut a light bulb on for me. It kind of made me see life a lot differently, because the little things that I was looking at, they really didn't matter. And I did have to take some time to heal from that and really get the download that she was trying to get and give to me, the real understanding of it. It really didn't click, I would say, totally for me for like a year later. A year later, that clicked for me. But during that time, it kind of gave me some peace and comfort when you realize that you're chasing and pursuing something and you're going after things. And the reason why there's so much pushback, so many things coming against you, is because you're out of alignment. You're not in alignment with the things that are available to you. You're not fine-tuning the frequency. You're not fine-tuning yourself so that you can live the life of your desires and your dream in your heart. And when she kind of brought me back, it helped me to begin the journey of healing. And of course, that did take some time. It doesn't happen overnight. When you start to kind of rebuild yourself, when you start to rebuild your confidence, your worthiness, and you start to change your perspective, because that's what it is. You have to shift your perspective of the world. You have to start viewing the world differently. When I realized that so many people are caught up in how the world is operating, they miss the clues of the spirit operating in the same in tangent. They miss the things that's happening behind the scenes because they're watching the things they can see in the physical. Baby, you're on it. She's answering it for me. Go ahead. I was going to answer it for her, but you go ahead because you're absolutely correct. Okay. I'm just going to make sure I haven't missed any of your comments, but I'm going to go ahead and let you respond to that. Actually, everyday things in life can be rituals. You can make anything a ritual. You can, buying flowers for yourself, taking yourself shopping, going to the nail shop, going on trips by yourself, going to nice dinners, anything can be considered a ritual, because everything is all about intention. Everything is about when you start to be conscious about these things. Some people go about these everyday life and you're doing a checklist. It sounds like when you're doing your thing, it sounds like a checklist that you're checking off. I got to make sure I get my hair done. Oh, I got to make sure that I get my nails. I got to make sure I get my new dress. When you make it into a checklist, you take away the power of the ritual, the power of pouring back into yourself and anchoring that frequency of high maintenance or being spoiled or whatever it currently is. So she is right, because everything's a ritual. Anything could be a ritual. You can just get a cup of coffee can become a ritual. It's all about your consciousness around it. So when you embody a spoiled frequency, you're not just saying, I want gifts, I want luxury, I want provision. You're aligning yourself with the truth that you're already worthy of it. You are spoiled not by accident, but by design. So let's get practical. We're going to talk about actual steps to step into the frequency, which I think someone asked that question. First thing you need to do is you have to shift your language. And I think that's one I keep giving over and over, because it's so important how we pay attention, how we speak to ourselves. When you operate from a space that I don't need much, I can take care of it. Start saying, I love being cared for. That shift alone changes how men, money, and energy treats you. Ritualize receiving. Stop treating your self-care like a checklist. Turn your bath into a ceremony. Make your skincare a moment of worship. Receiving is a muscle, and ritual strengthens it. Sacred standards. Write down three non-negotiables for how you're going to allow yourself to be treated in love, in money, friendships, and stick to them. Practice allowing. Next time someone offers help, resist the urge to say, it's okay, I got it. Instead, practice receiving by saying thank you. Faith in action. Every morning, and this is something I do particular for myself, every morning I remind myself that I am fully supported by the divine. The world rises to meet me. I anchor that belief every single morning into my nervous system. That's what is part of my ritual. It's a part of me preparing for the day. It's a part of me anchoring that frequency so that I can attract and bring things to me. See, I don't like chasing. I don't like pursuing. I don't like have to go after things when this world was created with my provision in mind. Provision is already available to me. It's more about me fine tuning my frequency so I can bring those things to me and getting in alignment versus me having to chase or pursue it in order to have it. Lillian, I don't know if I'm saying your name correctly. I love your response. Rituals have more intention behind it. It's more intentional. Could be everyday things, but the intention is what's different. Absolutely. I intentionally get up every single day and participate in morning rituals. I intentionally get up every single day to soften the body and calm my nervous system and speak into me. I intentionally get up every single day so that I can anchor in that frequency of abundance, so I can anchor in that frequency of power, so I can anchor in that frequency of self-confidence, so I can anchor in the frequency that God has given me, God's creation of provision. So I do this delivery every single day. I spend an hour anchoring that frequency so I can live the life that I want to live. Not only live it, but enjoy it. Not only live it, but enjoy it more abundantly. But I think it's so important that we take back the conversation, or we take back the words of high maintenance or spoiled, and we don't allow that to be used against us. We shouldn't allow anyone, regardless if it's a man or a woman, to use that as a slur against us, because these things are innate when it comes to being in our natural state. And as a woman, God created you so that you have to think about this as when it comes to the world that we live in. You literally watch animals go and have provisions, and they're not chasing and pursuing, and they're not working a 9 to 5. You literally watch the birds eat and produce and do all the things they're doing, and they're not stressed or struggling. So if that provision is already innately ingrained in creation, then what you think is available for you when you are created in the divine's image? I constantly chant, I am healthy, I am wealthy, I am rich. I am absolutely. I'm well respected, well protected. I'm a goddess, I'm royalty, I'm nobility, I am artist, and I'm grandeur. Absolutely. I love that. I think I know what song you're referring to. I think I came across that song and I was like, that is a great affirmation to have that land into your nervous system every single day, and going out, landing, having that land in your nervous system, and that raising your frequency, and then people, money, men, opportunities are rising to meet that frequency because it's such a in a high state. That is so powerful. So when I saw that song come out, I was like, that's a beautiful song. I've lately been seeing a lot of songs that help women to really align, get in alignment, get in ritual so that they can have the things that they desire. How do we keep that spoiled essence in a male dominated field like law enforcement? Since it is in frequency, all you have to do is align every single day. All you have to do is decide what type of ritual that you're going to implement to keep that, anchor that frequency in. So the thing is, the reason why, let me tell you why I love rituals so much. Let me tell you why I promote them, why I offer them, why I have them, and why I do them myself. I do them because there's psychology behind it. It's science behind it. It's not just spiritual, it's science, because science and spiritual sometimes bridge the gap and they meet in the middle. When you have completed some type of ritual and you can, when you come home, let's say I do different types of rituals. Let's say I do a bathing ritual or I do a candle ritual. When I come home, that smell brings me back into that remembrance of that emotional state. When I did that ritual, it softened my body and it put me in a high. It raised my frequency. It put me in good tidings. Put me in a good mood. And so when I come across or come home from a long hard day, and I have completed that ritual, and I have maybe a token or something that helped me complete that ritual, anytime I smell, see, touch that thing, it brings me back into remembrance. And that's what these things do for you. That's the reason why I am sending out ritual boxes for the feminine ritual collection with tokens in them. Because anytime you do the ritual with one of those tokens, it's going to bring you back into remembrance. So this would change your entire emotional state. Anything that changes your entire emotional state, it's going to change your frequency and it's going to put it on a high. And then people who are fine tuning to that frequency, they're going to meet you. They're going to be attracted to you. And that's the reason why I love rituals so much. That's the reason why I promote them so much. That's the reason why I say women need to get back into rituals. We've always had them. It's really nothing new. I am not bringing anything new. This is not new. It's really very ancient, actually. That back in the day, women would have bathing rituals. They would put oils in their skin. They would put perfume on. They did these things so that they can soften the body and their nervous system. And then they could sometimes I don't think affirmation was truly a thing, but rituals were, where they put themselves in a certain emotional state so they can go about their day. So maybe if they had to deal, y'all have to realize women come from a background where of struggle. They come from a background where they did not have all of the rights that men had. So there were certain things they had to do to be able to deal with a husband that they were married to that they didn't like. To deal with kids that they possibly didn't want at that time. So they had rituals. They had bathing rituals. They had oil rituals. They had candle rituals. They made their lives a ceremony. And we still have some of that today. Why do y'all think we got spas? It's still making a ceremony of your life. It's still giving you an opportunity to ground and relax so that you can start anew. It's like releasing all of that negativity and going out the door with positive and in a better emotional state. That is what rituals do for you. That is the reason why women love candles, because candles have a scent to it. And that scent brings them back to remembrance. I want you to think about music. Some of you all can listen to a song right now. What does it take you back to? It took you back to a time when maybe you were young, happy, and living your best life. Or maybe it took you back to a time when you had an important, impactful memory that you had with a family member or ex-boyfriend or a husband. Rituals bring you back into remembrance of self. You once said in the video that we shouldn't say affirmations, they should be a reflection of our lives. But recently you talk about affirmations. I talk about affirmations because I know that affirmations are needed. Sometimes, and I can be honest and say I jumped the gun with saying that. You know why I jumped the gun? Because everybody isn't where I am. Affirmations to me is action. Affirmations to me are encouragement, or it's basically the writing to my story. And it means action for me, but it doesn't mean the same thing to everybody else. Some people, when they say affirmations, it takes a while for the affirmation to land, for it to actually make a difference in their life. So I decided, let me speak on it in a way that's going to be helpful to everybody else, and not basically helpful to the masses, and not just to a minority group of women. Because maybe you're like me. Maybe affirmation to you are action. Maybe when you say I'm a queen, you're going to go out here and do queenly things. Maybe when you say I am that girl, you feel it immediately and you're going to start to act on it and do things that show I'm that girl. Like that is me. But that is not the masses. So when I was speaking about myself. And honestly, I shouldn't have done it that way. I should have spoken into the way I should have spoken into the masses so that it would make the transformation and help that is needed. But yes, should we get to the stage where we're operating affirmation should be action? Yes, it should be. It should be it should be a reflection of our lives. It should be something that we're currently doing. But that is not where everyone begins. And since I am trying to be a guide and supportive of women, and not all the masses are not ready to act in that way, I have to be able to reach them. And reaching them in this way is saying, hey, let's start affirmation. Let's start to work on planting the seeds for change. Let's start work on planting the seeds of affirmation so you can change and have these things implement and grow in your life. Because that's what it takes for some women. Some women, they don't get it. It doesn't mean anything when they say the words. And there's no action happening behind them. And some women, maybe like me and you, we're like, let me go do this thing. But we've had a lot of practice in it, right? We've had a lot of practice in it. There's some women who are starting at the beginning of their journey of self-worthiness, of self-confidence, of understanding they're a queen. So I'm speaking to the masses, and that's the reason why. I have no problem with addressing things that I said in the past. And as you can tell, I've really grown as a teacher and a guide and a mentor, and realizing that women's needs are different. And if I really want to impact change, I have to start speaking to the masses and not to the minority. Because guess what? The minority are the women who don't look at affirmations like that. I just got back in the oils and definitely comfort you on your way to bed. And my ex-fiance loved it. Yes, I'm actually an oil girl versus a lotion girl. I don't like lotion like that. I love oils. Oils are like my best friend, because I feel like they last longer and it really just makes my skin glow. But we have to start taking back these words and taking away the power that we've given a human. We've given humans too much power over us. We've given humans so much power that we believe that we're going to be, we have to do everything by the sweat of our brow. And I'm telling you, as a woman who guides and supports women, I have some of the most talented women in my community. But there's still so much deconditioning, deconstructing that has to happen. They truly do believe to a certain level, because this is all they've seen. They've only seen work and hard work at that. And since they only seen hard work and struggle and strife and sweat, they believe that their provision is in that. They don't they don't understand that you were literally created in the image of the divine. And you being created in the image of the divine, you will have more than an animal. You have a brain, you're able to plan, you have a nervous system, you have frequency, you have principles. You were gifted with so many gifts. The only thing you have to do is work on alignment. If you work more in alignment and curating and tapping into the things that you're aligned to, that is where your wealth comes from. That is where your provision comes from. And it is taken away from a human. I need you to take these things from a human, because these humans don't have the power that you think that they have. Thanks, bro, for addressing that. Big respect for you. Well, I try to be as honest as I possibly can. Um, and you've been around this community for a very long time, and I appreciate you showing up, and I appreciate you, bringing it up. There's nothing wrong with that, because I think that as a person who creates content, if I shift my mindset, I should be accountable to my community. I should be able to say why I shifted my mindset. I think that's highly important. I think a lot of what content creators tend to do, sometimes they shift their mindset and they don't explain. And so respect is lost, because I am a person, if you change your mind or something has to shift for you and you spoke on something, be one enough to speak on it again and tell me why the shift had to happen. I make rose clay clove water from fresh rose petals. I bathed in, infused with essential oils, and spoken intention. Yes, I love that. I spritz it on me to raise my vibration when I come home and after bath. is my favorite pick-me-up. Morgana in my green tea is another for oxidative stress and increased energy. Yes, absolutely. I stopped drinking green tea because green tea would like mess up my stomach. But when I tell you green tea is that girl, green tea will give you so much energy. If you have so many things to do, it will give you energy. And then not only will you give you energy, when you start to apply with intention, it will give you energy to go after the things that you desire, whatever that is. Sometimes it's not hard work that you have to put in to get the things you desire. Sometimes it's just showing up. And I love green tea for that. It just wasn't good for my stomach. It wasn't, it was a great ritual, but it wasn't great for my stomach. And I want to implement it again. I just don't know how to go about doing it without having stomach issues all day. It's good for weight loss. It is. It is great for weight loss. Absolutely great for weight loss. And to be absent from the body is to be one with God, to be one with the divine. And so when you are able to be in that state, like green tea can literally put you in that state where you're able to kind of get the downloads really quickly. Like I said, I just had stomach issues with the ritual, with utilizing in that way. Yes, but it is so important that we remove men's opinion from what is right or wrong for us. When men show up, they should be only a mirror. They should only be a reflection. They should not be the one that makes the decision in our lives. And what I mean by that, because I probably need to clarify, is that men should not be making the decision if we are wanting to align with the frequency of being spoiled. They should not be, you should not decide that I am not going to embody or be on that frequency of being spoiled because I am concerned with a man's opinion. When it is really disrespectful towards the creator, towards divine, when we decide to align with struggle or decide to align with scarcity, do we realize that when it comes to struggle, it means work without faith? And so when we get on that program or get in that frequency, because it's going to make sure that we're not rejected by this human, by this male, it's disrespectful. It's disrespectful for a woman that's created in the image of the divine to be in struggle and scarcity, especially when provision is integrated in God's creation. It's disrespectful. I guess I might get in trouble the same way I got in trouble when I said that scarcity was not what scarcity. I think I said something about poverty being a curse. But you should look at it as such. You should look at it as such, especially when provision is integrated with creation and provision is all around us. And instead of stressing yourself out about provision or stressing yourself out about being with men who have provision, try to get in alignment so that provision, so you can take advantage of the provision is already integrated. The provision is already available. So the one thing about women, they don't realize they have natural gifts that you were born with. You were born with natural gifts that help you fine tune into provision. So you don't have to chase or pursue. You don't have to sweat. You don't have to do any of these things that you've been trained to do or conditioned to do because you're scared of being called spoiled or high maintenance. I understand the stomach issues. I used to have them too. So I take a tablespoon of coconut. Let me write that down because I miss my green tea. Green tea is wonderful for energy, weight loss. It's good. It's also wonderful for you to kind of like tap in and be really, your self-awareness expands with green tea. So you tend to get more done. You tend to really tap into that alignment, into your natural gifts. And so I really do miss that ritual. I just stopped because of the stomach issue. So I'm going to write that down. I'm going to try it out. And I'll probably let you all know how it went, but I'm definitely going to go back to it. I miss it. But you weren't meant to be in scarcity or struggle. You have so many opportunities, so many natural gifts and provision already integrated in God's creation. You operating from the divine, you are the image of the divine. And being the image of the divine, you are worth more than animals. You deserve more than animals. You have so many tools and gifts to be able to tap into alignment and your own provision. Some of you all don't know the natural gifts that you have just to be able to connect and communicate could be a way to tap into provision. Some of you all don't know your natural gifts for your intuition can guide you to the next level in your provision. You are probably doing too much, or you know, doing too much, or operating in a space where you feel like you have to earn it in order to have it. And that's okay, because that is a conditioning that was put into us by humans. They figured out how to make the world, this physical world, go round. And how did they do it? They figured out how to create every human into a worker instead of every human into alignment. They're not preaching, hey, get into alignment, fine tune your frequency so that you can attract things. They're saying, hey, work hard, work 40 hours a week, go out here, work until you die, pretty much. And that is the sentiment. Work until you die. And then, or work until you retire. And when you're so old, you don't even get to enjoy your retirement, because the retirement age is when you're feeble. Well, not always. I'm not saying every person is feeble once they get older. I'm just saying that is a sentiment that is pushed on us, that you're supposed to work until you're old and feeble and useless to everybody else. Instead, if we were to utilize the provision that's already integrated in creation, it's all around us, is within us, we would tap into our natural way of provision, and we don't have to depend on humans. Now, if we want to, receive from men, which being spoiled is naturally being a receiver. And instead of practicing saying, I don't want this, I can't have this, oh, I'm not this way, you should start practicing thank you when you are receiving. Being spoiled is a frequency. How are you going to step into that frequency if you keep rejecting everything that comes your way? I've been very honest. I don't care how women utilize tapping into that provision. I don't care if women use their beauty to tap into provision. I don't care if they use their intellect to tap into provision. I don't care if they use their intuition to tap into provision. I just think we're leaving too much on the table. We're full. We're growing, thriving. We're women. You have so many more options. You are so blessed to be in the image of the divine. Why would you shortchange yourself? To me, I lack understanding in that, because one of the things I did realize as I began on my journey, that I was going to utilize all of the aspects of womanhood to tap into provision and not feel sorry because of it. You can't make me feel any shame because I tapped into provision, even if I use beauty, even if I used my intellect, even if I use my intuition, even if I use my community, even if I use my connection. You can't make me feel shame for tapping in and being woman and tapping into this beautiful creation, this provision that's available to me. So calling me spoiled is a compliment. Calling me high maintenance means that I have standards that you have to respond to. When you call me low maintenance, or, not spoiled, or that just means maybe I am not operating to my full potential and there's work to be done. And some of us have work to be done. All right, so I'm just checking to see any questions or comments, because I think I went back and I did answer your question about how to embody the frequency of being spoiled. But it's time to stop allowing people to shame us or guilt us or be scared of rejection. Rejection is great. Rejection is God's protection. We should not be concerned if we're rejected. You will go through life and you will be rejected, because rejected also helps with alignment. It helps push you to your natural provision, to the provision that's integrated through God. And so you want the rejection. You should celebrate rejection. You should not be upset if someone rejected you. That's a good thing. That means it's not in alignment. That means that person is not in the plan. Going on Everbright and finding free events in your city is a great way to tap into resource provision. It helps us to receive without output. That's a great plan. But every single day, we should be trying to step into the frequency of being spoiled. When we start operating as our ancestors did, the ancients, where they created or made things like a ceremony. And the reason why they did that, because they needed to keep that spark. They need to tap into the alignment. They needed to tap into that frequency. They need to tap into womanhood. They need to keep and not lose themselves in a world that wasn't valuing them. And so they implemented rituals. And like I said, we still have some resonance of the rituals today that we had back then, but they were implemented for a reason, and not just because of, just to, I don't think people see the value or the importance of them, or don't know why we do these things that we do. True, money is very feminine in nature, and they rarely teach people the how. They just teach people the what. When you said treat this money like a sport wife, I resonated with that. Can you talk about rituals, high maintenance practices the ladies did in Bible times? I think I talked about this before in a video prior, but they did bathing rituals. They would have certain bathing rituals with oils, where they were taking care of their skins, and they were speaking and talking about how about beauty. They focused on beauty back then, and basically trying to make sure they because the rituals, they were just trying to keep their emotional state in a good place. So they had bathing rituals, they had oil, they had herbs also. They did certain things with herbs to get scents out, to make sure that they have scents throughout the places they lived in, so they will be in remembrance. I knew such a dope way to tap into resources. Indeed. Okay, so y'all are talking to each other. That's great. But the frequency of being spoiled is something we should step into every single day. We don't want to allow the humans to tell us that it is a bad thing, or make it to be a slur, or make us feel that we should not be that. When God's creation literally has provision, and it is included. I don't see any other questions or comments in the chat. And we've already been here up to 53 minutes. But I just wanted to leave you all with this message that being spoiled is a frequency. And not only being spoiled is a frequency, high maintenance is not a slur. High maintenance is all about your energetic standards, and everything responds to that. And when you don't have any, you're going to learn a hard lesson. I did myself. I learned that if you don't ask for anything, baby, you won't get anything. You actually might get less than anything. And so I want to make sure that, matter of fact, I dropped the link in the Feminine Ritual Collection. If you want to get on the wait list for the ritual boxes, you can go ahead and tap that link. The link will also be available after this video. They're going to be dropping soon. I'm so excited to offer these rituals to you all. There's going to be like a ritual, there's going to be like a card inside of the ritual box. You're going to click on the QR code, and there's videos with the specific rituals for each token. And that's going to come in each box, and every box has different tokens. because every box is operating and helping you fine tune your frequency for a different thing. And so I'm so excited to offer that to you all. And I can't wait for you to receive the on the second drop. Some have already went out. If your name hasn't been called yet, it's because I haven't gotten to your name. It's not because I skipped over you. Trust me, I'm going to get to you. This collection has exactly 3 drops available, which means I'm going to drop this collection 3 times before I move on to the next collection. I love my American sisters down, but I think that's why African men know not to play with true African women, because they stay true to traditionalism and their rituals and don't apologize for it. Oops. Um, you know what? I love my African sisters also. I actually have a Ethiopian sister-in-law, and when I tell you, just watching her in action helps raise my standards energetically. Just watching her action and being in that frequency of spoil that she is, it clicked something inside of me. Not only did it click something inside of me, it helped me, to see outside of my own life and see that, hey, I need to lean more into being to being into that spoil frequency, because she gets a level of provision that women can only dream about. She be on vacation when he is at work. She be in another country by the pool while he is at work. And this is my brother I'm talking about. And I am so happy that she gets to experience that frequency and that level of lifestyle. I love that for her. But she definitely, looking at the way she operates, said, hey, baby, you need to raise your standards a little bit more. You need to be out here a little bit more, and seeing that the way she's moving and the way she handles things, it is a lovely thing to see. As you can see, you can tell I love her. I love her to death. I'm interested more on the language of receiving and how to continuously activate it. First, start rejecting it. And when it comes to language, you have to make sure you're not rejecting it before it even comes to you. Because when I was in scarcity and struggle and lacking self-confidence, I would reject things before they come to me because I didn't think I deserved them. And my language showed that. So when I was operating, I'd be like, oh, I don't deserve this, instead of just saying thank you. Or I would reject help. I would reject help because I didn't think I deserved it, instead of just leaning back and allowing that person to give and support me. Of course, I've come a long way and I know exactly what I need to do now. But when I first started, I started with the conversation that I had with myself, because a lot of us don't realize we're rejecting ourselves over and over and over, just with our internal conversation. The conversation that we have with ourselves, we reject even the good things that we know about ourselves. We reject ourselves over and over and over. So when something is offered to us, of course we're going to reject it. You're rejecting yourself, so you're going to reject everything else that's giving and supporting you. So start with that first, and then start tweaking your language. Like, as soon as you say something that's negative about yourself, switch it up, make it very positive. And as soon as someone offers you help, instead of saying, no, I got it, I can do it myself, be like, yes, thank you, I appreciate you so much, and just lean back. Maybe you have to put your hands behind your back so that you cannot interfere or help, but do that so you can start the process. It starts at little bitty baby steps of you making sure that you stop rejecting the things that is trying to be given to you. Because I guarantee you, things are trying to support and give to you, but you reject them all areas and all ways. And it starts with self first. So start with looking at the conversation we have with ourselves, and then start to pivot when we have conversations with others. Use language that indicates more along the lines of thanking them or being great or having gratitude that they are helping you. And just accept help. Accept if someone's trying to give something to you and support you. But I can do a whole video on that. I can do a whole video on just the language of receiving. That's a great idea. I need to write that down. Yes, ma'am. I pay attention. Yes, she lives a whole different lifestyle. And I love that for her. I love seeing women live their best lives. I am not one of those women who are jealous or anything of that nature, because I know that anything a woman has or a woman has been given, you can have also. It is not, a lot of women reject that because they think that they're not pretty enough, or they're not in shape enough, or that they don't have the right connections or community. But I know that if God created me in his image, all provision is already available to me. Only thing I need to do is to be in alignment and trust that I can have, and expect it. Expect that it's going to come to you. Expect that you can have it. Know that you can have it. How to use rituals to attract love. Well, go ahead and get on the wait list. I have something called a Sacred Union. Yeah, Sacred Union coming out. That is a ritual box you're gonna want, because it is not. I'm not sure if you saw the other video where I don't fine tune your frequency for love. I'm gonna be honest with you. I fine tune your frequency for devotion, because devotion is the one where they're at the altar, that they're willing to sacrifice, they're willing to do. So I don't fine tune frequency for love, because love is pure heart energy. And most women, when they are in love, they tend not to have boundaries, standards, and they tend to lose themselves. So I could fine tune your frequency for devotion, because once you're in that frequency of devotion, love comes, because you can have devotion and love, but you can't have love without devotion. I did a whole video on it. I don't know what the name of the video is at the top of my head, but I talked about it. And that means you want the ritual box of Sacred Union. The link is in the box in the chat here. That's the box you want. And it's not love that you desire. Most women are not ready for love. You're ready for devotion. You're ready for devotion, because the frequency of devotion is paired with boundaries. It's paired with standards. That frequency is the one that most women need to be in with men. And then as they're in the frequency of devotion, love shows up. And then when love shows up, it's easier to deal with both of those frequency in your relationship versus you just having love. Because love, I don't understand. I don't know if women know that kind of love strips you down. If you are or had just if it was just love, the frequency of love, it strips you down. It strips away the standards, the boundaries. And most women say or feel like they've experienced it. You haven't experienced love. Most women have experienced trauma, and that's different than love. I can't think of the name of that video off the top of my head, but definitely go check that one out. That explains why I don't really talk too much about love. It's not that I don't believe in it. It's not that I don't believe that women should have it, because I know women are loved. But when you love kind of strips you down, and a lot of women are not prepared for the frequency of love. When most women need to be in a frequency of devotion first. And getting in the frequency of devotion, that will bring in love. Thank you for breaking that down. I will most definitely be more aware of my inner dialogue and pivot. I love that word. Absolutely. I had to do that work too. I'm telling you all, I began a hot mess. I had so many things that I felt was pulling me down or making me feel bad about how I looked and how I acted. And so that tended to show up in the people that I connected with, because you can only go as far as your frequency. If my frequency is very low and scarcity and struggle and lacking self-concept and lack of worthiness, I'm only going to meet people who are going to meet me at that level. And not only meet me at that level, they're going to affirm to me what I expect. Or they're going to come in and they're going to trigger me. And most of us, when we get the people who trigger you on that level, we tend to push them away because we are not willing to accept that there's something more, something different available to them or to you. But we've already been here a whole hour. I've had so much fun. I love having conversations like this. I appreciate you ladies for actually supporting me and being here all the way to the end. Take the time to like the video. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe to the page. If you want to make sure you get your ritual box in this second drop, please make sure you get on the wait list. Do not wait for it to appear on the website. People have learned, women have learned that if they wait for it to appear on the website, it's already too late. It's usually out of stock, because I tend to just pay attention to my wait list and I give them first dibs on all of my product, all of the tokens and all of the boxes. And so I'm going to go ahead and close out. I see you all on the next one. You all have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Bye.